path to the brighter future.
Mr Speaker.
Stephen Browning.
I rise to speak to the Callaghan Innovation Bill. The model in this bill probably could mostly be right. It'd be right if it was purely the facilitator that it speaks of and it spoke of initially, a connector of both business, of people that can't find the people they feel they need to solve some solutions. But the bill as it stands does not necessarily stop there. It goes on to a little bit of an unknown, nebulous area that we're yet to find out as the Institute unfolds. Some of the wrongs are that effectively the Minister can interfere. And for one, the Minister could push genetic engineering through in there and say, hey, we want our friends there to get some real help there, and push that way. They could do other things that suits its business agenda that aren't actually in the public interest. Using government funding, we can look at the CRIs that sometimes we wonder whether they are quite as functional as we might like. But actually they are okay except in how they are funded. How they're funded is a problem, and currently the structure for funding them is a little bit of a one-size-fits-all. The Callaghan Institute could be a good structure as needed, because it requires other institutes to contribute, and there is room for that sometimes, but that is actually already happening with Crown Research Institutes too. However, it needs independence, and the independence is clearly not there in this structure. It would need certainty for scientists, certainty of jobs, certainty for resources, and there is no real succession in there except it may be the conduit for emptying out from the public sector scientists into the commercial world. The governance model needs some different strength. Crown Research Institutes, on the other hand, their funding, if it was far more independent, where they would have 51% of the control over how things work for them, would be a much better area, it would be a much better outcome, because we actually need science that is pure science here, not just obsessed with meeting some immediate commercial reality. There will be commercial benefits, but not if it's just force-fed. The old IRL, it did seem to have a record of poor management at times, but what IRL has done over recent years has been outstanding. And I note the National Business Review reporting on Sean Coffey's resigning from IRL, pointing out that this institute will be a major challenge. We don't need it to be a major challenge, we need it to be an effective and certain structure. I note that Professor Jeff Talon, a physicist of superconductivity research, has pointed out that industrial research will disappear into the institutes more, and he had concern about that. He also pointed out that Sir Paul Callaghan would have been shocked by his name being, by the structure and being put to this, and would not have put his name to any institution that's lost its focus on science and research. There's an unknown future. What we do know is that this is a privatisation of public science, including feeding committed, pure scientists into the commercial maw. Funding starvation, because this will be a funder as well. Funding starvation, or go to the companies, because this was what was put in the Select Committee, that scientists would be seconded from the science institutions and put into companies to do the bid of the institute. And IPENS, the engineers suggested that those researchers should not ideally be coming back, and that the Institute will receive replacements. So the Green Party will not be supporting this. We think there are too many flaws. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Scott Simpson.
Mr. Speaker, what a pleasure it is to stand and